I am Michelle.
And I'm Natalie the Red.
Yes, and we are back with another video, and we want to begin to talk about as we get closer. We're now just a little bit over a week away from the Snyder Cut that's going to finally be released after what is this, like right at 5 years almost. It's been a ways. It's been a time getting to this process. But we are going to talk today a little bit about why we think the Snyder Cut matters and why we should support it if you are a DC fan and if you've enjoyed somewhat the Snyder movies. So that's what we're going to talk about. And we've got three reasons we've come up with of why it matters and why we should support it. And when we say support it, I just want to be clear. When we review the Snyder Cut next week when it comes out, we're going to we will give you our honest opinion of the movie. We're not saying when we say we need to support it, you've got to lie about how you feel about it. We're just saying give it a chance and watch it. That's all we're saying on that.
Just give it a chance.
Yeah, just definitely watch it though. So Warner sees that you watched it. That's all we're saying in that. But when I was thinking about this, again, there were three things that I was kind of thinking of and talking with Natalie of why it's important. And the first and the main one that I think of why this is important and why we should support it is because it is a fan movement.
Yes.
I mean, this is something that never would have happened without some of you fans. You just began championing it for several years, and people even discouraged it, said it didn't exist. It was a pipe dream. It would never happen. And you guys just kept on with the hashtag Snyder Cut. And finally...
And now we're here.
Yeah. Finally, when AT&T bought over Warner's, they listened to you all, and I even began to join in towards, I would say, the last several months before we knew it was going to, before they greenlit it. And they listened. They listened to the fans.
And that's huge.
It is huge. You know, in a time, especially I feel like in today's time, where it's kind of like, I feel like these big companies are doing more and more of just what they want to force down our throat and what they want to do. I think
maybe we're looking at you, Lucas.
We might.
Disney.
We might be. I think it is important for studios to begin to give the fans what we want. And I don't mean that in the sense of we want you all, the studios, to be creative and to come up with new things, but we're saying give us things we want. Like the third point we're going to get into is something we want. And it's time for studios to give fans basically, any company needs to know what their consumer's looking for. And sometimes they offer things we don't know we're looking for. But other times...
What we didn't know we needed.
Yes. But other times you give what you feel like, oh, you've put out feelers. Oh, there's an audience for this. And you give that.
And it really, even from a financial standpoint, it only makes sense. Because if the people are clearly demanding something is on demand, they're probably going to buy movie tickets
and merchandise.
And you're going to make money.
Definitely. So I think it is just super. I can't stress that. I can't stress that enough of how important it is that because it's a fan movement, and that's just exciting. And I'm excited for some of you who have been in this fight from the very beginning. So it's just kind of an awesome moment for the fans. So the second thing I think of why it's important, why we should support it, is Natalie and I have been very transparent that we grew up bigger DC fans than we ever were Marvel. I've always just connected with DC a lot more.
Even when Michelle was a little girl and she would hide behind the seat at the theater because she was afraid of the penguin.
Did I do that? Well, in fairness to me, I was 3 years old, just turned 3 when they took us to see that.
I can see at 3 he was a little creepy.
He was a little creepy. I mean, he bites a guy's nose and it bleeds. It's pretty gross.
He was hungry, Michelle.
But we've always been fans, and one thing that Marvel has been so much better than DC at doing is having a vision and a plan and sticking with it.
We give them that.
Yes, they've been excellent at that.
Yeah.
And DC has kind of not been good at it, but in 2013 with Man of Steel, when they brought on Snyder, he had 5 movies that he had plotted out. There was a vision. And within just right as he's finishing the third, they decide, nope, this isn't what people want. even though the movie actually
really, well, and it's kind of like they didn't want that. They wanted it, from what I heard, I did a little research, they wanted like make us a Marvel movie, basically.
Yes. And when they did that, guys, the box office went down significantly from Batman v Superman, which we're going to talk about later this week. So he has a plan, and they basically just shoo him off the set before he gets to release his third installment of this plan. And since then, it's clear as day there's not a plan for anything really moving forward. We've got World 1, Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, and all these sporadic different movies and installments and 3 Batmans and 2 Jokers. And I mean, it's just there's no plan. So I think it is so good to bring back someone to allow at least 3 coherent stories to be told. Again, that's just, it's good to do. Coherent.
Well, and it sounds like, from what I understand, kind of what happened was, and you guys feel free to, as always, to correct me in the comments, you know, there was I won't name it, but tragedy in Zack Snyder's life. And instead of being like, okay, take some time off, clearly, and, you know, and come back and finish this, they're like, no, we need to get this out. So we're going to bring in Josh Whedon and redo about 90% of the movie, totally change the tone of it, you know, and then it didn't do that well, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it bombed, actually.
You know, because love him or hate him, I think Zack Snyder, the vibe I get from him and from his movies, he is like truly, he's an artistic movie maker, you know? I mean, it's kind of like he takes superhero stuff and turns it into art, which I can very much appreciate and respect.
Definitely. And too, another thing is with this, it's like, regardless of how you feel about his movies, you can't help but like Snyder. Anytime I've watched Zack Snyder, he just comes across so authentic and genuine and just like a nice guy that you could have a conversation with.
That's what, you know, I'd never watched him. I'd actually seen a clip on Instagram of, what's Aquaman's name in real life? Jason Momoa.
Yeah, Jason Momoa.
Coming up and surprising him. And he does, like, he just seems like genuine and like not putting on a show and stuff. And then when I watched an interview with him today, he genuinely, I didn't realize like what a nice guy he seems like.
Yeah. Oh, and like totally
clearly does care about the fans and what they want. And so, you know, how cool from a big Hollywood director.
Yeah. And I mean, something else that, this isn't a point I made, but something else that's been awesome about this movement is they have raised, I feel like, a couple million at this point for suicide prevention in honor of his daughter. And it's just like, that's an awesome cause. So good things have come out of all this. And also on Zack Snyder, something if you've watched any of our videos recently, we've talked about, I love that Zack Snyder, he just kind of presents movies that are apolitical. Like he's not pushing narratives. He's just making art and speaking to humanity as a whole in general.
Which to me is the most powerful and the best way to go about it.
Definitely. And that's why I've really grown to appreciate Zack Snyder's comic movies, Man of Steel. And
yeah, I love Man of Steel. And I think you kind of got to root for the guy.
You do. So that's another reason. Does that mean we're going to love the movie? No, you can't be forced to love something you don't love. But I really like to support the man, Zack Snyder. And I think we need some more Zack Snyder types in Hollywood. I think people actually would gravitate towards that now more than ever.
Absolutely.
So that's another thing. And our third reason of why we should support why the Snyder Cut matters and why we should support it is simply Henry Cavill. And we've done our video on the fact that Henry Cavill is Superman, and that got such a response. I see so many of you feel the exact same way we do. And if you, like us, want to see Henry back in the suit, then we need to.
And we do.
We definitely do.
If you know what I mean.
Then we need to support this movie. And when it comes out, you begin to hashtag as you're watching
the heck out of it.
Yeah, hashtag Snyder Cut, hashtag Henry Cavill is Superman, and let Warners know yet again what we as the fans want. Because we've seen, at least in this, that they're willing to listen to us to a degree. So we, in this moment, need to seize the moment and truly voice our opinions and let them know that we want more content like this, but we want Henry Cavill back in the suit for another Man of Steel.
In the lyrics of Justin Timberlake in the early 2000s, let's bring sexy back.
That would definitely do that. but yeah, Nelly.
Okay, he's also does an excellent Superman. All jokes aside,
and Amy Adams
we can't help
is
he's incredibly attractive.
Yeah.
It's a bonus. He looks the part. But yeah, and like Michelle, I actually, when we watched Batman v Superman the other night, it's like I really enjoy Amy Adams as Lois. She does a fantastic Lois.
Yeah, and I mean, just so much. I just enjoy the world, but anything else, I think that's kind of our 3 reasons that we think that the Snyder Cut matters and why we should support it. And again, as I said before, when the movie comes out, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I have a feeling it can't be any worse than what we got a couple of years ago in Whedon's Justice League. But regardless, let's support this fan movement, and let's let the studios know that we want Henry Cavill back. And if you're like me, who would like to see Snyder continue his vision, then let them know that also. So get those hashtags going when this movie's released next Thursday. We're excited. We'll be reviewing and covering it for those of you who maybe just found us and for those of you who enjoy DC and Snyder type content. So definitely check back for that.
I'm so excited to see his original vision of what he wanted it to be like.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think it's definitely gonna be better than what we got.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited to go back into that world with Henry Cavill as Superman. And again, just see him, as you said, see his vision played out. So I'm super excited. Again, so many good causes like suicide prevention have come from this, and just really looking forward to the movie. But that is it for this episode.
In essence, support the Snyder Cut, support Zack Snyder, and support our man Henry.
Yes, let's do those things.
But if you took anything away, take that.
But that is it for today's episode of Force of Light Entertainment. And as always, remember to be a force of light. All right, bye guys.